Hi, good everyone, especially to you, Sir Anthony Gamali. I am Alexander Carl Bila Kribis, Kermito at Mois. I live in Talisayan, Misamis Oriental. So now I will report the Chapter 3, Filipino Nationalism. 30 minutes video. So here, Filipino nationalism. Nationalism is nourished by a sense of history. It is of its instances to know profoundly the past, so that we may be in complete openness with the men who made the history, and in intimate communication with their thoughts, their deeds, and their noble lives. Carlo M. Recto Jr. Filipino nationalism started in the Philippines in the 1886 with the upsurge of patriotic feelings and nationalistic ideals resulting from more than 2 decades of Spanish rule. This served as the backbone of and continues to this the first nationalist revolution in Asia, the Philippine Revolution of 1896 jokes in 1990. These nationalistic feelings have resulted a comprehensive campaign in the Philippines for political, social, and economic liberty. So I will explain the historical background of Filipino nationalism. So first is the Philippines had been split into various principalities known as barangays in the years before the 11th century, a name originating from Malayan ship called balangays. Ditos Raha or Sultan governed these in political units Halili 2004 in 1565 when Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi arrived from Mexico and established the first European colonies in the Cebu. European colonization started in earnest, starting with only 5 ships and 500 men confined by Augustin Mont and further strengthened by 200 soldiers in 1567. He was able to repel competing Portuguese colonists and lay the foundation for the Spanish colonization of the archipelago. The Spanish occupied by the kingdoms of Manila and Tondo in 1571 and founded Manila as the capital of the Spanish East Indies Colonial 1999. This Spanish colonization united the archipelago of the Philippines into one political unit. I will explain the beginning of Filipino nationalism. Originally, the word Filipino refers to the Philippines. Spanish Criollos, the Spanish leader, described the natives as Indians during their 330 years rules over the Philippines. Rosica 2012, the Spaniard born in the Philippines, more known as the Insulars, Criollos, or Creoles, were also called Filipinos. During the colonial era as well, Spanish-born Spaniards or Philippine-based continental Spaniards were referred to as peninsulars. Those of blended heritage have been called mestizos, despite being considered inferior by the peninsular. The Creoles has enjoyed numerous rules of state and church and composed of most the various criticism of government. The feeling of domestic awareness from the Creoles, who now consider themselves Filipino, their significant factors: economy, education, and forest scholarization brought into the emergence. This factor led to the Filipino nationalism, brought the Philippines opening to the global or trade, the increase of the upper class, and the influx of European liberal thoughts were just few instances of how the Philippines became a stable nation. The first manifestation of the Philippine nationalism followed in the 1880s and 1890s with reform or propaganda movement carried out in the Spain and in the Philippines with the aim of propagandizing the circumstances of the Philippines in the hope that the social, political, financial life of the Philippines would be changed by peaceful means. History of the Philippines Revolution 2015. And other concept of the Filipino nationalism. Nationalism is the circularly identification and engagement of our people with the Filipino nation and domestic community, the Philippines as our country and homeland. It goes beyond our family clan, tribe, village, city, province, religions, local, culture, and religious. First, foremost, it is being true Filipino, believing that we belong to the body, to the one body, mind, soul, and spirit. It is a pride to be a Filipino. Self-respect as a Filipino, pride in our national culture, heritage, and manners of life, with their constraints being realized. It is involved pride in our heroes' pride, in our flags, national anthem, and other symbol of our nationhood, national pride and dignity, inspired by willingness to serve our nation along and with dedication and to sacrifice for it, if necessary, with all our lives. It is a tool of change and reform. It is aim our moral and spiritual generation or our liberation from ignorance, bigotry, intolerance toward those who hold distinct view of themselves, patriotism, narrow-mindedness, feudalism, a system in which higher-ranking individuals give land and protection and work and fought for them in exchange. Colonials mentally, the internationalist attitude of the people, racial or cultural inferior as a consequences of colonialism, bravery as a distorted elitism and elite to avoidance and presence as dominant component in a community. In other words, as a Filipinos, it has a powerful national identity and sent a higher-minded intent. So here, Filipino identity based in a part on our indigenous values. Bro, A. Pagsasarili called by self-reliance. B. Pakikisama called by equitable sharing and partnership. C. Pagkabayani called by patriotism. Pagkakaisa called by national unity, national consensus, and discipline. And A. Pakitungo called consideration. F. Pakikipagkapwa tao called by human solidarity based first of all on developing our nation. And G. Pagkakapantay-pantay means quality and equity. So, different ways to show Filipino sense of nationalism. Filipino had already shown their own way of nationalism in the Spanish colonial period. Some fought with their fins and tongues while others used their arms and weapons. Authority. Everyone had their own way to showing our country their love and respect. Some even died and were able to get back our country's freedom that we enjoy nowadays. But have we ever noticed how some Filipinos demonstrate their feelings of nationalism nowadays? You could read some thoughts in this portion about how Filipinos show our nation their nationalism. To show our sense of Filipino nationalism, everyone must work, act, participate, respect, stand, proud, and love. Let us work on our act today and participate in the government. Respect everyone, including rights. Stand proud for who you are. Love everyone as how you expect they would love you back. Number 1, respect the Philippine flag and value Filipino identity. So here, being Filipinos, we should respect our Philippine flag and its purpose. The history and value of this flag are connected to the freedom we have today. Encourage our fellow men participate and respect our flag and it is attempt and even our different symbol they provide as our identity as Filipinos or citizens of the Philippine Republic of the Philippines. So number 2, be productive. Do not rely on everything and then blame our government, but instead make yourself productive and helpful to nation, because some of the Filipinos are blaming the government for any adverse things our nation would strike through. There are some corrupt political position holders, but they're not all. The only issue here is that we rely too much on our government, then blame them afterwards. We should learn to stand on our feet and be productive and helpful not only for ourselves but also for everyone. So number 3, be aware of the issues in our country. So here, we must be aware and updated on the significant issue happening in the country, extend help to the needly fallen, especially the victims of disaster like typhoons, flooding, and the like. Naturally, all of us use media in our daily life. We could already demonstrate our nationalism to our nation by using this media. Some of our fellow Filipinos use the authority of the phrase to extend their assistance to others in the face to calamities that hit our nation. They publish some data about how other individuals might be able to assist disaster affected individuals. Number 4, stand proud for every achievement. Filipino are competitive many ways around the world. They are proud to be Philippines and to be brought to the nation for the awards for their accomplishment. They unite every Filipinos. We can be proud of all Filipinos like Manny Pacquiao, the football team, Ascals, the basketball team of Gilas Pilipinas, and many more. Number 5, patronize and support our own products. The Philippines has rich resources to create quality goods and products. The manpower services we provide are also globally competitive. Our economy will improve more if we ourselves patronize our own product, which characterize our creative resource fulfillment and industry. In spite of Filipino migration all over the globe, nationalism it is also self-evident. Millions Filipino now support goods and products made by the Philippines outside the Philippines. Everything is feasible with the emergence of world economy based on information driven by free trade, market economy, and open capital markets. The Philippines product lives up to the standards of quality in all modesty. Number 6. Preserve the Filipino culture. Philippines is a rich and various colorful cultural elements. They are identity, be proud and preserve the culture we have, for they are treasure we have to keep them for the future generation. Migrant Filipinos who have particularly growth most of their lives overseas almost always to return the Philippines to explore our lovely beaches and the future attraction of a nation which 7,107 islands offers. Filipino maintain a periodic TFC. Meaning of TFC is the Filipino channel subscription to get in the contact with everything Filipinos forget about homesick while overseas, and instill the Filipinos values that we see on their television. Number 7. Respect everyone. Value our tradition. Filipino are very courteous and respectful. You will acknowledge a Filipino individual everywhere you go because he or she has always been respectful of the elders and others, using the common of certainly classic ho, oho, fu, and opo. Even in modern times, many Filipinos show the values their novel norms and tradition. Although Filipinos overseas have held themselves as the peak of their interest in the patriotism of their domestic unities with passion may have been polarity in terms of divided island language, religious and ethnically, but they share a common country's love and vision for a better Philippines. So, number 8, speak out our own language. Using our own language, it is manifesting and preserving our national identity. It is our unique means of communicating and interesting with our fellow men. Our language is an important tool to achieve further unity and national development. Number 9, remember and commemorate our heroes sacrificed for our countries. So here, there are many peoples who died for our democratic freedom and independence. Some thought using their fence and tank, while some use the power of their arms. Weapon each had their own. So, way of showing their love and respect to our country. In today's generation, let us value and treasure our heroes sacrificed and devotion for our country's google.com. So number 10, love our family, our neighbors, and our countrymen. So here, the essence of life for most Filipinos is to create their family and nation a part of their enduring engagement. They may then express their dedication to unfairly chooses born to have advantage of the majority. We are strongly committed to our obligation. Filipinos create an all-out efforts to work and make private sacrifice around the clock over the weekend hard work. These values as combined with an abundant reserve of patience have been included by our beloved parents to our youthful minds. Bravery of Filipinos of workers abroad is an ideal evidence of human sacrifice for family, love, and nation. Love being away from home and dealing with the problems of life in a nation you knew no one, and risking yourself into many world-wide danger are exemplary, particularly when serving a well-formulation task of supporting our families is back home by sending remittance that in turn would help increase the community of the nation and make it more financially stable and monetary assets. Philippine symbol that promotes as a symbol are very, very important to people in unique a lot of, especially if their symbol are related to a signs of nationalism. The official recognized national symbol of the Philippines are first, number 1, the Philippine flag with red, white, and blue colors and yellow suns representing the province of the country. Number 2, coat of arms of the Philippines also feature yellow suns with it depicting the original province in the Philippines. Number 3, lupang hinirang, chosen land, the Philippines national anthem. Number 4, Sampaguita, Geminius Sumbak, the national flowers of the Philippines, symboling purity and simplicity. The flower is small, white, and pleasant and fragrant. Number 5, Nara, Criticals, the national tree of the Philippines, also known as rosewood. It is strong, sturdy, and durable, a common rainforest tree. So number 6, Philippine eagle, Picola giferi, the Philippine national bird. It is acknowledged to be severely endangered. The Philippines eagle is protected by the law in the country, and there is extreme punishment for any harm done to them. And number 7, Dr. Jose Rizal, national hero of the Philippines. Number 8, Canyosas or Tinikling, the Philippine national dance to graceful. It is symbolized by this dance. And number 9, Carabao. Water buffalo, the Philippines national animals. It is symbolized industriousness and hard work due to use of many farms in the country. And last, Bangos. Milk fish, the Philippine national fish, is symbolized to versatility because of the many ways in which is cooked. So, that's all. Thank you. I am Alexander Carl Bilacre, Biscrim to at Moise, and this is my report for this subject. Thank you. That's all. Love you all.